Welcome to Beyond Broken Hungry. Juggling your career, relationships, nutrition, fitness, finance, try to pursue your dreams, and stay sane can be a bit of a struggle. With the help of expertise from a variety of wellness experts and tips and tricks from everyday people, this podcast is here to share it all to make this journey we call life just a little more balanced. I'm stumbling towards wellness right alongside you, and I'm so happy to have you come along this journey. With that in mind, let's jump into this week's episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. I am your host, Dara Sweat, and it's a new year, 2023. Wow. I feel like everybody's been saying this, because I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, and everyone's been like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it's already here!" Like the last part of 2022 went by so fast, but it did. Okay, like it just did. It was like January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, and then it was like, oh, and it's a new year now. Okay, so, you know what this time of year brings. You know I have to do it. You know I have to talk about it. You know I have to. New year, new me, resolutions. Y'all know my stance on this. If you've been following the podcast for, oh my God, this is going to be year 2. And just if you know me in general, I don't really believe that you need a new year to like start over or reset some goals or make new goals or have new goals. However, I do and have always kind of set some intentions up for the new year, something to work on, something to work towards, things like that. I do think it's a really good starting point for some people. I think that you can change your life any day of the week, any day of the year, any day of the month. It doesn't really have to be January 1 or February 1 for some people who are like, yeah, I'll get through January and then get back on the train or get on the train or whatever it is. But I think it's an awesome perspective to have. I love how everybody is kind of talking about a fresh start, setting up some goals, giving some examples of what goals, if you're kind of trying to figure out what goals you need to be doing. Let's say you've been on your journey forever and you've been doing a great job and, you know, things are just kind of plateauing or you just don't really know like what goals to set up for yourself because you're still working on some. That's okay. I'm going to help give some little examples as well, just for things that you can work on. The reason why I love talking about New Year's resolutions and vision boards that come alongside that is because honestly, they really do help. I know it kind of seems like, you know, hubbub, whatever, everyone's talking about it. It's hashtag trending, but it really is helpful. It has helped me over the last few years just kind of have like a target in mind of things that I want to work on or goals that I have in all sorts of categories, not just weight loss. If you've been a visitor to the podcast for a while, you know that we don't just talk about food and exercise as part of a healthy journey. It kind of comes down to a lot more than that because your health is so much more than what you eat and how you move your body. So without further ado, let's get into some vision board ideas, New Year's resolution, goal setting, and making 2023 a kick-ass year. So, New Year's resolutions. Do we need them? No, we don't. We could have March resolutions, April resolutions, Tuesday resolutions. Like that really, the new year doesn't matter. Said all that spiel. Don't need to get into it again. However, I think that they're helpful. How can they be helpful? Well, they just kind of give you a trajectory and really like a focal point for some things that you want to work on. I've heard some people say that they don't necessarily do like a vision board or resolutions, but they give themselves a word for the year that they just kind of want to embody for that year, whether they're working on something or they're, you know, trying to deepen their relationship with Christ, be a more positive person. So if you can do this in a way that's like, what's my word this year? Abundance. Maybe you have some financial goals that you want to meet. Maybe you really need to work on finding some inner peace. So maybe peace needs to be your word. anything like that. Motivate, discipline, whatever the word needs to be. If that's a thing for you, if that works for you, awesome. Just use a word. Why not? And just let that be everything encompassing in your life. And I think that that helps as well. I am a visual person and a list person. For my horoscope babies out there, I am a Virgo. So I don't really follow that too much, but everything I hear about it is just like, yep, that's me. So you can do vision boards literally however you want. It's your vision. Graham Strength and Conditioning for the past couple years has had like a vision board night where we've all gotten together, made our vision boards. And Nikki kind of has like a good curriculum and criteria that she kind of helps guide us. Unfortunately, I have not been able to attend the last couple ones, and I won't be able to go to this one because it's on my mom's birthday. So last year, what I did was I basically took the idea of kind of how she was helping us set some stuff up, and I made a list. For those of you that watch on YouTube, it's literally a checklist. Like, it doesn't get much more Virgo than this, baby. It's literally a checklist on a piece of loose leaf paper. For those of you who cannot see, it's literally a piece of paper. And I just kept it safe in a binder. For my visual people, I have this binder. And this binder is, I called it the 2022 Passion Binder. So it had my vision board, some notes that I thought helped me professionally, things with Graham Strength and Conditioning, so coaching notes, nutrition, meetings, and things like that, just to keep things organized. And then y'all know I have my like side business with Saint. So I had some planning and notes in here as well, just to kind of keep everything organized. And this was just kind of like a passion binder. I will be setting that up for 2023. I just have not done that yet. I wanted to kind of go over how I set things up last year. And then we'll kind of get into what I'm going to be doing for 2023. So if you like to make your vision board all fun with photos and pictures and graphics and all that other stuff, awesome. Love that for you. I like to do that too, just haven't had the time. So if you're like me and you're like, man, I really wish I could do something for a vision board perspective, this is a great option. Making a list. Love a list. We love a list. So whether you're doing your list or you're doing your vision board or some collage or whatever it is, whatever's floating your boat, I'm sticking with 6 categories. I did this last year, the year before. I'm going to continue with these 6 categories because it just made sense. So those 6 categories, we've got health, home, financial, family, fun, professional. That's it. Underneath each of those categories, list you could a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 8 under each of those categories, some goals. And they don't necessarily have to be anything that's going to take you a full year to do. But maybe you're just like, I just want to get it done this year. It doesn't matter if it's right now or if it's later on in the year. I just want to get it done. I'm going to give you some examples underneath each category that I did. So under health, y'all know if you've been following for a while, in 2021, I tore my medial meniscus and I had a meniscectomy on my left knee. So I was starting off 2022 literally on crutches. So I was like unable to walk or run or lift or do anything. So my first goal was get my knee right. That was it. Second goal was 10 pounds by the end of the year, not 10 pounds in a month, whatever, by the end of the year. Check. Get off metformin, which is a prescription aside from birth control that doctors will put women with PCOS on. My version of PCOS, there's so many different kinds out there. I am more related to diabetes than just having it be like an autoimmune kind of thing. So they put me on metformin to help with my insulin production. I am officially off as of March of 2022 and have not had any problems, even had some blood work. And my doctor was like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm not going to make you take this. I'm like, oh, okay. Wish you would have told me that 12 years ago, but whatever. Drink less alcohol. I did actually drink less alcohol, believe it or not. Even with being in 4 weddings this year, I did drink less alcohol. So try one new recipe a month. That was kind of something that I save recipes on Pinterest and on Instagram all the time, and I never ever make them. So that was kind of a goal for me, and I did do that. I had 2 other things on the list that I did not accomplish, and one of which was run a 10K by the end of the year. I'm still like barely under 3 miles, but that's okay. We're getting there. And then getting a new primary. I did get blood work done, but I did not get a new primary doctor. I will be doing that this month, actually. That's part of my 2023 goals. For home, I actually checked off all of these except for one because it's currently still in the process. So one of my home goals was just be consistent with my morning and evening routines. And I was. Big part of my day is starting off with the Lord, some silence, and coffee. And I have made that a thing. And at night, I have started reading just like fiction, fun books to like lull myself to sleep and drink some tea and try to go to bed as early as possible. Put things away where they belong immediately. I have gotten so good at this. I used to be so overwhelmed when I was cleaning stuff up because everything would just be everywhere. Shit would just be everywhere. And I'd be like, oh my God, like, why is this literally 2 feet from where it needs to go? So I started to tell myself, okay, if I take the milk out of the fridge, I'm going to put the milk back where the milk belongs. Or if I grab a pen, I'm not just going to leave the pen on the counter. I'm going to put the pen back in the pen bucket. So on and so on. I'm sure Doug loves that because now if he just leaves things out, I give him like a 12-minute lecture on how it is a problem for him that he needs to work on. So he's working on that. The next thing is stay organized. That goes along with putting things back where they belong. I love to be organized. I love the fact that if someone's like, where's the screwdriver? I can be like, oh, it's in the utility closet, the third drawer on the left. Like, I love that I can say that. Like, I know where everything is in my house for the most part. Organize my file cabinet. Y'all, I have had this file cabinet since I was in college, and the things that I threw away, I was like, why do I have this in here? So it took me like probably an hour, maybe 2 to go through it, but I can't tell you how good it made me feel once it was all done. So if you have a file cabinet, I recommend putting that on your 2023 goals to reorganize. Next one, organized dresser. I actually did that like the week between Christmas and New Year's. So it was a full year before I finally did it, but I did do it. I did accomplish it in 2022. Organizing my closet and laundry room. So I just had like a bunch of decorations that were just kind of like haywire. When I first bought my house, after a few months, I had a roommate move in. So I kind of had to like frantically put things away randomly. And I wanted to kind of be more purposeful with how things were organized and like storage and stuff like that. So I did do that. And then my, underneath my stairs, I just had a bunch of stuff that I just kept throwing in there. And when I went through everything, I ended up like throwing out and giving away a lot of stuff. So all of that was accomplished. The one thing that is still currently being worked on right now is my upstairs bathroom. It is being remodeled. I started September 28th. I know your jaws are probably dropping. Why is it January and it's still not done? I keep asking my contractor that same question. So, but we're almost done, supposedly. He keeps saying, so that's another conversation. Financial. Okay, so I did not accomplish either of these. That is something that I'm still working on. I was a little financially irresponsible during the holidays and I'm paying for it right now. So that is something that I am definitely going to fix because although I'm fine and everything's okay, it's just one of those things where I'm not where I want to be financially on an organized level. Like I make great money. I have, all my different forms of income and things like that. I have a roof over my head. My bills are paid. It's just chaos. So we're going to be working on that. Follow along. Under fun, once a month craft night. I started to accomplish that a little bit later on in the year. I have a group of girlfriends that we get together once a month and we do some kind of craft that's always themed. And I think the next time that we get together, we're actually doing like a cooking class or we're talking about it. So that has been really fun. Just a really good way to be creative, to be social, kind of knock two birds out. So I really enjoyed doing that. We had a lot of fun. And then new restaurant per quarter. I'm pretty sure we ended up accomplishing that, especially with how much I traveled and stuff. I always try to go to a place that I can't go anywhere else when I'm out and about traveling, unless my mother is in charge of it, because then she'll just take me to whatever Carrabba's is in the area. Love mom. And the last but not least, travel with Doug. We did do that a bunch, and it was a lot of fun. We made tons of memories, so excited about that. Next, family. So I have 3 things written down. I did cross off one, which was dinner with my grandparents, like once a month. And it probably added up to about once a month towards the end of the year, but it wasn't always like once a month, you know what I mean? But I did try to spend as much time with them as possible. I did not visit my sisters in Tallahassee one quarter, but I'm also a Gator, so I don't care. I don't like Tallahassee anyway. And then visit Fort Lauderdale twice a year. Y'all, I had 4 weddings this year. It was really, really hard for me to put anything on the calendar aside from a bachelorette, a bridal shower, a wedding, my work trips, everything else. So did not do that, but I'm only in 1 wedding this year. So hopefully towards the fall, I'll be able to make that happen. And last but not least, the professional category. I actually forgot, honestly, about my professional goals. And when I went to go kind of reevaluate this and look at it at the end of the year, I was very proud of myself for the things that I was able to check off professionally. Sell tickets to my company's events. Check, got those all off. I'm the social media coordinator for a tech association. Outside and other things, but that's like the main big girl job, if you will. And I got some people to buy tickets from social media specifically instead of like members and things like that. So that was a huge goal for me. Very important. Bring on new clients to the agency Mudflower that I do some freelance work for. And I think I brought on 4. So I crushed that goal. Create successful marketing plan for Mudflower. I think I did a pretty good job with that. I will be diving a little bit deeper this year and creating more content specifically for Mudflower as opposed to like just the content that we have for our clients. So stay tuned for some cool things that I'll probably be sharing about that. Get a raise, promotion. Check. Your girl did both. So that was awesome. The 2 things that I'm still kind of working on, haven't really accomplished or did not accomplish in 2022 to the fullest, but they're still kind of in progress, is getting Google certified. It's time to sit down and do it. And I have made excuses and haven't got it done. That's straight up. So I'm going to do that this year. And then be consistent with podcasts and marketing tips on social. So that was for the Mudflower perspective. We kind of were thinking about doing a podcast, doing like social marketing tips and like blah, blah, blah. But I'm only one person and I can only do so many things. So I was like, I'll put that on the back burner. And then as the team grows, maybe we can start doing some more of that stuff. So all in all, 2022 was a very successful, very lucrative, very fun year. And I am very proud of the things that I accomplished with it. I do have some different goals going into 2023, especially because of the brand partnerships that I have built and got in 2022. So I'm really excited to kind of put a little bit more effort into those and really grow those. So I think that'll be really awesome. Before I leave you guys today, I want to share something that John Acuff said. He was on a podcast that I was listening to earlier this week, and it was talking about New Year's resolutions naturally. And it really resonated with me. Actually a bunch of stuff that he said, but more specifically, this kind of perspective, about yearly goals. So what he said was, you have to find the balance between discipline and flexibility. And I love that, because how true is that? I mean, in order to achieve our goals, we have to be disciplined, right? Like you can't just be scrolling on TikTok on the couch or watching TV and be like, man, all of a sudden I'm just really good at CrossFit. Wow. Or all of a sudden I lost 10 pounds. Wow. Or all of a sudden I find peace, or wow, my relationship is great with the Lord because I'm no, you're on TikTok, you're watching TV, you're not actively doing something. So we have to be disciplined. But the flexibility part is where I think a lot of us forget that we have to have in order to be successful. Because, if your goal, one of the things that John Acuff said, I'll just say specifically what he said. His goal every day as a writer is to write from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. When he's traveling, that looks a little different because he might be on a plane, or he might be waiting for a plane or in line for the plane or traveling from the hotel to the airport or vice versa, or on his way to a convention or whatever the case may be. So he has to be okay with being flexible and saying like, okay, I'm not going to be able to write at that time today. Maybe I only have 2 hours, or maybe I have the evening. So maybe I'll write in the evening. So being flexible, like that makes a huge difference in the journey that we're on. You got to set your goals. You got to write them down, but know that life happens, and whatever is thrown at you, like you have to be able to bob and weave with that. If your goal is to lose body fat and you get pregnant, okay, you're not going to have abs by the end of 2023, but your goal has to maybe shift to, okay, instead of having abs and dropping all this body fat this year, my goal is just going to be to maintain a healthy pregnancy. Being flexible. So you still have to be disciplined. You still have to, figure out the steps that you need to do for that. But then you also have to be flexible enough to be like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. It's just, you're not going to be pregnant and have abs. So that's just like an extreme example. But, I just really love that perspective. And another thing that he said that I think is really helpful, and it was really helpful to me because sometimes I feel like when I'm setting some goals, I feel like they can be very overwhelming and almost impossible to reach, especially if they're big goals. But what he said is, if the goal is really big, break it up into sections and create smaller goals for along the way. Duh. I mean, Jake Thompson from Compete Every Day always says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, the same way you eat grapes. You know what I mean? Like you gotta kind of do it one little thing at a time. So if it's running a marathon, you're not just gonna like go outside and be like, all right, 26 miles, let's go. You're gonna be like maybe mile 1. Or, if you can run more than 1 mile, good for you. But 1 mile at a time. If you're a writer and you're writing a book, 1 chapter at a time. If you've got some debt that you have to pay off, whether it's large, small, whatever, $100 at a time. Like, I know that financially, like maybe $100 can be a lot for some people. I don't know your financial situation, but just break it up into whatever small goals is attainable for you. And that will just make the larger goal a more fun experience, because as you go down, you'll be able to, oh, wow, check. And then as you start to see that you're closer and closer to the end, you're going to want to move faster. If you're in a race and you see the finish line, you run faster so that you could cross it faster. You could shave a few seconds off your time. You don't just slow down and go, okay, well, I'm almost there, so I'm just going to stop now. You keep going. You pick it up. You cross that line. So I think that that's a really good way to look at our goals, whether they're for this year, for the next 10 years, whatever the case may be. And one more thing that John Acuff said on this podcast episode that really resonated with me too was make January goals. We don't need to necessarily make the whole entire year goals right now. Make goals that are good for January. When you're in February, make goals that are good for February. Like along the way, have something every single month that you're working on or working towards, or a word. And that'll just make this journey like so much better, so much more fun. You'll feel more accomplished when you have those little goals to check off along the way. So just think about it like that. I hope that this was helpful for y'all. Whatever your goals are, I'm here to encourage. I'm here to motivate. I'm here to support you. I am here for the journey as well as you. So let's make 2023 a kick-ass year. You got this, friend. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Beyond Broken Hungry. If you aren't already, be sure to subscribe to Beyond Broken Hungry wherever you get your podcast so you can get notified every time a new episode drops. It would also mean the world to me if you rate, review, and share the podcast too, so more people can join the BBH tribe. Follow this podcast on social media at Beyond Broken Hungry to interact and see how I'm stumbling toward wellness one day at a time. And most importantly, tune back in next week for another episode. See you then.